Hey, this is Glenn with another episode of The Hustler's Mindset. You're going to love this title. We are all salespeople. I was going through my emails and I came across this, and the person was very polite, but it's like, you're too much of a salesman. And I was really offended because I don't think I am enough of a salesman. I think I have so much room to grow as a salesman that was just like, you're insulting my work here. The thing is, her gist was, hey, she likes to soft sell, show her a little something, get her interest, and kind of let her make the decision. I've taken a lot of sales courses. I've been involved in deals from $10 up to $500,000. And I'm going to tell you something. If salespeople did not exist, the world would fall apart, because this is one of the biggest problems in a transaction. People don't want to make a decision for the fear of making the incorrect decision. So there's a lot of apprehension often faced, and it's called the paradox of choice, that when people have too many choices, they make no choice. That's a scientific fact. You can look it up yourself. But we're all salespeople. If you're watching this channel, you've been following me since 2009, then you know that I'm about doing things that can make your life better, manage your money better, and most importantly, make more money. One of the ways to make money is by being a salespeople. Salespeople are some of the highest paid folks in the world. And getting to the core of this video, we're all salespeople. I don't care what you do, how you do it, you cannot get yourself out of the sales position. Nothing. You can't do it. You can't do it. And instead of being afraid to be a salesperson, embrace it, make yourself better, and believe it or not, when you're a really good salesperson, you make the end user, the customer, whoever you're presenting yourself to, feel much better. I'm not saying grab rocks and then present them as diamonds. What I'm saying is grab diamonds and present them in the best light possible. Now, you may disagree with me on everyone's a salesperson. I'm going to give you a few examples. One of the biggest sales transactions, and this is very clinical, and some people are going to be like, no, you didn't say that, but it's true, is when a guy meets a girl. He's selling himself, or if he has certain physical attributes, she's ready to buy before he opens up his mouth. That's the reality. That's how the world works. Quid pro quo. What can you do for me? And I don't see it changing anytime soon. So buckle your big boy pants on, get your big girl panties on, and get ready to rock and roll. And just say you're a salesperson and you're proud of it. There's a negative connotation that's like, oh, someone's trying to sell me something. Based on my 3 years in 3 years as being an information marketer, because that's what I am, I have noticed that a lot of people do not really know how to conduct proper research. They make decisions based on emotion. So sometimes you actually need a salesperson to lead you in the right way. Now, this is a really, really big thing. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you wear, what you drive is your marketing collateral material. Depending on what you're trying to sell, what image you're trying to present, all of that stuff matters. Sounds cold, but it's very, very true. Give you an example. Guy came into the store and I saw him drive up, and he had this old Datsun. It still had Datsun on it, but the Datsun was really shiny and clean, and the tires had Armor All on. And he came in the store and he was just looking around. And I greeted him and he was like, hey, how you doing? I said, hey, nice day. I said, you really take care of that Datsun. And then chest puffed up. Oh yeah, that's my pride. I love restoring cars and everything. And we started talking, and he had his hand on the counter, and I saw the ring. And the ring said Naval Academy. Now, anyone else looking at this guy would have just thought he was some scruffy old dude. For anyone that's gone to the Navy Academy, the Air Force Academy, or West Point, those are Ivy League schools. Those schools are actually harder to get into than Ivy League schools. Anyone that graduates from those institutions is top notch. Believe that, Jack. Believe that. And I was like, oh. So because of that, I engaged him in a totally different manner. And long story short, he bought $3,000 worth of stuff out my store because I actually treated him as the person he was. Because being a salesperson, you have to look at everything. You just can't go, oh, they're driving a BMW. No, look at their shoes. Are their shoes run over? Because you'll see people in great, expensive cars, and the car sounds like shit. The tires are bald, and when they get out of the car, their clothes aren't the way they should be, which means that they're actually living above their standards. And that's someone you can actually waste a lot of time trying to sell the wrong thing to because they may not have the money. I have a friend who dates this chick who is the epitome of that story. Makes decent money but blows it faster than she gets it, and she's always borrowing money from him. And the funny part of the story is she makes twice what he makes, but he manages his money well. And that's one of the reasons he will not marry her. Psh, good move. Another thing about being a salesperson is it forces you to identify what's important and what's not important. When you start a business and you put yourself under the guise that I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not a salesperson, my ideal is so great, you're actually heading toward trouble because to get venture capital, to get customers, to even get employees, you're going to have to sell yourself. And there's this great article about, I'll just put it in the comments, but it's in Inc. magazine. The guy's name is Gary, and he has this dairy, and the wife was writing about being the life of an entrepreneur, and she said her husband was the only one that got the funding because everyone went in and presented to the guys, to the investors, but he's the only person out of 6 people that presented that actually asked for the money. And there are a lot of salesmen that don't have the balls to ask for the money. I'm not talking about that namby-pamby bullshit. What can I do to earn your business? There's so many holes in that they can just drop out of or run against you. I have actually looked across the table and said, look, I want your business. I want to sell you X amount of dollars of products. What do we need to do exactly to make that happen? Because when you're dealing with a prospect and you give them all kind of wiggle room, guess what? They're going to wiggle. They're going to wiggle. Because no one wants to make a bad decision. Understand, sometimes it's not about you. I do this and it doesn't turn out well, I might get fired. I may be kicked out of the in club. I may actually become put out toward the edge because corporate America is a brutal place, and when you mess up, the consequences can be very, very ugly. So you have to do that, and you have to be aware of what you're doing. As an entrepreneur, you run a sales organization. Used to work for a company by the name of Rent-A-Crate. And the owner, Michael Shanley, said, we are a sales-based organization. I had read many sales books, but I didn't really know what that meant until I met him. He lived it, he breathed it, and a lot of people got pissed off because he said the salesmen are the top fish of the company. We were treated as such. We would go get yelled at for sales meetings, and then we're riding in limos after the grilling. That was how it was. And the thing is, he told me something. He said most companies go out of business not because the product's bad, not because they didn't know what they were doing, for a lack of sales. If you could always get sales, you will survive. If you can get bigger and bigger sales that are ahead of your expense curve, you will thrive. And I have seen companies that had horrible products but an excellent sales force, and they survived. I have seen companies with great products, a great idea, and they flopped because they didn't have salespeople. That's amazing how that works out. A friend of mine, this was like 2000, was talking about sales because I don't know if you ever heard of Michael Baisden, but during the early days of black literature, when there was a lot of things going on, Connie Briscoe hooks, there was a lot of people like Michael Baisden. When you mention black writer and what doesn't belong, people will say Michael Baisden because his writing was elementary, blah, 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 whatever. But Michael Baisden was an excellent marketer of himself. Now, there are many people who criticize Michael Baisden who are now working at their regular run-of-the-mill 9-to-5 job, while Michael Baisden has his own television and radio shows. Understand, Mike did this. Bam, 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 bam. Because he's a salesperson. He understands what it took to get where he wanted to go. There are people who are better writers, who had better ideals, but because they were not salespeople, hooty-hoo, you don't even know who they are, and you don't even remember their names. They wrote 1, 2, 3 great books, and they're gone. But Michael Baisden's still here. So if you have your choice of being this great mind, being this great manager, versus being a great salesperson, I'm going to tell you something. And this is something that I know to be the truth. If you're a good salesperson to a great salesperson, you'll always eat. Always. I don't care what the product is. I don't care what the market is. You will always eat and provide for your family. There are brilliant people out there who are unemployed. Marinate on that for a second. Now, to the really, really juicy stuff. Just because you do not want to self-identify as a salesperson does not mean you're not one. What it means is you're an unaware and crappy salesperson, which means you're ineffective and you're going to crash and burn. If you write a book, if you have a product, if you're an inventor, you are a salesperson. You will benefit from going to Inc. Magazine or Sales.com and just reading a few articles and spending a week just immersing yourself in what salespeople do, and you will be 1,000 times better than you are today. That is the reality. Now, I'm doing this video because I've come to a place where I have noticed that old school ways work much better for certain things than the new school ways, which is where everything's on the internet. Everything's on the internet. To give you a great example, there are a lot of people in the storage auction space who are selling storage auction training aids. And their websites are better than mine. Their SEO is better than mine. Their presentation is better than mine. Even their Google ranking is better than mine. But I sell more books. Now let's discuss that. Why? Because I'm a salesperson and I know that the internet thing is good to a degree, but you need more. One of the things that I have, and this is called a unique selling proposition, is YouTube. All other guys, they've tried, and they continue to try, but they don't have the type of traction that I do because I understand how business works. I knew that I would be making videos for a long ass time before people really picked up on it. I didn't anticipate the shows, but I knew that my viewership would grow because it's like when you open up a new company and you have to do marketing. You have to grind every day for months with marginal to very few results. I've been through that process several times, so it doesn't bother me. But for the neophyte or someone that doesn't have a lot of business experience, it's very daunting and it will wear on their personal self-esteem, and a lot of people quit long before they get to that point because typically you may do 6 months to a year of marketing before things really take off. That's why everyone's like really excited about viral marketing, videos going viral. Then overnight you get all the success. That's wonderful. It does happen, but it's not the norm. What is the norm is like a company like Waffle House that was in business for 10 years before they really started expanding, tweaked out a little bit of things. Now they're making money hand over fist because they worked out their process. But back to me, in my book, I looked out there, and I'm not going to call anyone out because I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't have any facts. But I'm a bona fide storage auction hound. Most of the people out there who are selling these products are not. They may have gone to some auctions. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. So, competitive advantage number 2. Competitive number 3, I can halfway write, so I create my own products and I didn't have to farm it out. Competitive advantage number 4, I know how businesses work. It's not a sprint, it's not a cakewalk, it's not even an event. My book that I wrote in 2009 and revised will be making me money in 2019. That's how I look at it. Won't be making me as much money as it's making now, but it'll still be making me money because that's how things work with books, because I looked at the marketing. So there were all these people who had all of these advantages over me, yet I make more money. And how do I know that I make more money? Because I check out stats, I check out what website hits, and I kind of know what the conversion rate's going to be. So, and also I have a higher price point product. Once again, came by from research, because I did not try to follow everyone, because I did the research. See, that this is the salesperson. This is you're a manager, you're a creator, and you're a salesperson, but you got to put all that stuff together. So that's my example, and I did this during the recession. In many regards, recession actually helped me. I'm no fool. There's a lot of people out there who can't find jobs, who can't find work, are very dissatisfied with the work that they're doing. So all of those factors just are a win for me. But also, this is the new thing. I have been talking about storage auctions, Craigslist, and garage sales since day one. I don't just have one product. I have several. Once again, being a salesperson, because I was in a position where I worked for a company, we had one product, and we lived and we died by that product, and that company died. You need more stuff. That's why when you have a store, you need low-end stuff, middle-of-the-road stuff, or high-end store, or high-end stuff. Or if you're going to pick your position, you need to know your niche very well to be successful. That all comes from sales and marketing. Sales and marketing are not the same thing. Sales is actually, hi, I'm Glendon Cameron. I'm here to sell your product. Marketing is the YouTube videos, the blog, the stuff that lets you know that I am out here. That's marketing. Marketing and sales are not the same thing. Sales are a totally different animal. Marketing helps you get to the sales process, and a lot of people get that twisted. Like, sales and marketing are the same, because I've met people who are great marketers, but they suck as salespeople because they don't have the balls to ask for the money. That's where the action is. That's where the juice is, and that's how you move your business, your product, your life forward, by having the balls to ask for the money. And I ask for the money all the time, and I know some people, oh no, it's the internet. You're supposed to give me like 90% of the content for free, and then, if I like you, I'll buy 10%, Come on, man, it's the internet. Understand, this is my world, and you're just a squirrel getting a nut. But seriously, it's a process. And we are all salespeople. You need to embrace that stuff. I don't care if you're selling stuff on Etsy. I don't care if you sell hair care products. You need to become the best marketer and salesperson of your product to move it forward. There have been companies that were literally started in a ghetto, in a crappy apartment, with Rodney the Roach walking across the wall, and now this guy or this chick is living the life because they took those chances and they became salespeople. I don't think you have to be born a salesperson to make it happen, but I do believe you have to have the energy and enthusiasm to learn how to be one. Alright, this is Glendon, and I'm going to be doing the Hustler Mindset here at Mr. Glendon Cameron, so check it out. And as always, subscribe, leave a smart ass comment, like, and share.